within, okay, please sign it. And because Nazarbayev University Graduate School of Education has 3 Master of Science programs in leadership. One of them is higher education, one of them is inclusive education, one of them is school education where I work, which means we do not prepare school teachers, but we prepare educational researchers and the reformers of school system. Anyone who wants to come to study with us, so they would study about how school system works in different countries, how school system works in Central Asia, how can we improve the school system? And then my course is really about to reflect on the role of a teacher. Let's move to the dear colleagues. If you are ready for a journey, sometimes I will be asking questions and I will request you to write in the chat. And occasionally I will also, because we have only 20 people, sometimes you can also switch, put on your mic and you can speak. Otherwise, if the room is very large, the people are too many, it becomes quite chaos. So that's why I think today it's okay. Let me begin with explaining my ideas about the role of a teacher in the school system. But let me show you these examples. Dear colleagues, if you analyze the literature on teachers, why people become teachers, there are many reasons in the literature you find. Some teachers come to teaching because they say, it is my calling, призвание на русском. And some teachers also say, I love to work with kids. That's why I am a teacher. So among you, there might be some of you, but some of them say, I had a favorite teacher, so-and-so. He was a great teacher or she was a great teacher, and I want to be like him. That's also one can be reason among you. And also, some teachers say, I come from a family of the teachers. Their mother was a teacher, their father was a teacher, grandmother was a teacher, or brother was a teacher, or they still want to continue to be a teacher. Now, dear colleagues, can you write in the chat, do you think that any of these reasons, just write a number, which is the reason why you chose the profession of a teacher, if you chose? Number 4, Jamal, number 4, good. You are from family, yes, I know Jamal's father is a teacher. Olga, teachers is, I know Olga very well. Olga, teacher is calling, I know. And the Gulyala, it is Gulyala. Yeah, Gulyala. Number 2, I love to work with kids. Excellent. Elmira, teaching is my calling, which is good. I think and no one is saying that I am a teacher because of ORT or ENT, because sometimes teachers also choose this profession because of the scores in the examination. Well, and I think Tesla, oh, welcome Tesla. Tesla is joining us from far away Japan, I think, if this is exactly the Tesla I am talking about. Well, Laila, oh, great. Laila, you are already a graduate of our program, but welcome. Dear colleagues, have a look at this interesting idea from 1975. One of the very groundbreaking authors in the field of education, particularly about teachers, is Dan Lorty. He wrote his book in 1975, but many people still quote him because he was such a brilliant scholar. And according to him, we often want to emulate our teachers. Why? We want to be like our teachers. We want to teach the way our teachers taught us. Or sometimes we also don't want to do what our teachers did for us. Now, I would like to pose and to ask you to think about your own favorite teacher or teacher who made a very bad impression on you. Every one of you have some examples. And I have a lot of examples. When you think of your school experience, you think of your teacher and you say, oh, that teacher was great. I really liked how he or how she interacted with us. Oh, I really liked how she cared for us. She was even giving us some candies. I don't know. There are so many reasons why we like our favorite teachers. And also why we want to emulate our teachers, because look at this, please. Dan Lorty says we spent on average, we spent 13,000 hours in the school, which means we are observing our teachers all the time. We like some of the things, we don't like some of the things. We want to do some of the things our teachers did, and we don't want to do some of the things our teachers did. That's how our teachers are shaping our own identity. Anyone disagrees? Anyone has examples? You can write in the chat if you have brilliant examples, or later on I will ask you to give us memories from your childhood when you were a student. In my class, I would engage the students about it. Now I think somebody is trying to enter. Dear colleagues, have a look at it. Teacher's job is not easy. There are so many reasons. One of them, we do a lot of work. And we work too much. Even our work doesn't finish at 6 o'clock when we go home, because we still carry the work with us to check our students' work at home. But many people think that, oh, teachers, you have 2 months of holiday. You don't work on Sundays. You are very your work is very easy, but those people don't understand how hard is our job. Number two, salary in many countries, unfortunately, is not as much as we would like to. Number three, unfortunately, there is too much paperwork. Yes, sometimes ministries are trying to reduce the paperwork, but it is not really having a very tangible impact on our teachers' work. Another thing is that we often have so many visitors and inspectors coming to test our classes, to check our classes. And unfortunately, in Kazakhstan, in Kyrgyzstan, and in Central Asia, there are so many reforms. One reform after another, one reform after another. You want to understand this reform, and there is a new reform. So teachers constantly trying to understand these reforms. And finally, please, can you disagree with me if you want? With the last point. Sometimes, because we are teaching the children of our villages, of our communities, sometimes we don't have much time and energy for our own children. You come home and you are so tired, and your child asks you to help with something. You say, I am so tired, go to your mother. Does anyone agree with this? Anyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Professor, yes, absolutely.
Unfortunately,
yes, sir, yes. You're absolutely right.
This is unfortunate, and I just want I understand, you want to help the children of your class, children of your community, but your own children should not suffer from that. It is difficult even for me. I try to balance it, but sometimes I think even I get tired, but I think our kids also deserve, of course, we are teachers, but we are also parents for our children. And this is a difficult one. And let's move on. Dear colleagues, let me show this photo first. Now, this is the real newspaper. This is a picture from a real newspaper. Now, without even saying too much, can you go through this text? I know it's very small. You cannot read it very well. If you can read it, especially those who are joining from cell phone, I am really sorry. If you get the main idea, do not just tell me with one word your own reaction. What is your reaction to this text from the newspaper? Spend maybe 3 minutes, please. Spend 3 minutes and write one sentence in response to this article.
Oh, dear teacher, it's in Russian language. We can't understand, I think.
Oh, sorry. I am sorry. We have some international participants.
It is. There was a situation in school where there was how do you say, between a teacher and the parents, and when the teacher was very strict and improper behavior.
Yeah.
And they even take the teacher to the court.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much, Guliala. This is from 2013, when a teacher in a certain Central Asian country punished the student. Why? The student apparently misbehaved and didn't do properly homework, and the teacher wrote 2 on his hair and cut the hair with putting the failing mark 2, which means this is a real story. After that, the student ran away to the forest. But I think this was a big issue, because I think student ran away and it became quite a big news on the newspaper, etc. Now, write to me, please, what is your reaction to this newspaper article? Now, I want to see your reactions. Anyone has got any reaction to this picture and the article? Tesla says children were the naughtiest at schools. Is it referring to this article? Maybe reactions. What is one word? Okay, I see Guliala's
No,
reaction.
that wasn't the response. It was to the previous you know, like
okay.
family time.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. What's the response? Is Tesla Begzat or this is Nurbek Tesla?
Nurbek. Okay.
Nurbek. Okay, because Begzat is also sitting here. He is also very innovative guy. Now, your reactions to this article. How do you react? Don't hide your reaction. Say anything you want, but only don't use the slang. The what's the word? Don't use the words that offensive words. Negative communication between both sides. So upset about it. Inhumane, unethical teacher behavior. Good, Chinara. Good. You see, why don't you put your ideas into one word? Teachers need to be fair, but firm expectation, however, should respect dignity. Okay, teachers was less tolerant to the student behavior. She did not. Why is it so difficult to put into your emotions into one word, dear colleagues? No humanism. These are two words. Bullying. Yes, Asem. Good. Very good. Okay. Now, dear colleagues, let me pause it here. You are right, but now I will come back to it after a few slides. Let me show the previous slide now. Maybe some of you will change your ideas. Have a look at this. When I was teaching at Nazarbayev University in 2014, I requested my students, one of my students did a very good job of assessing the only headlines or titles of the newspapers. I asked my student, can you find out what kind of titles do local newspapers have about teachers? This is a short list. I had a very long list. I am only showing 5 headlines. Can you read them, please? What do you think about the titles? The pupil shot teacher and police in Moscow. This is from Yegemen, Kazakhstan, 2013 and 14. The next headline, 2 teachers are killed in Kostanay. And Kostanay, for our international students, Kostanay is one of the cities in the west-north Kazakhstan. The next student, the pupil, the next title, the pupil killed his teacher in USA. The next, the teacher who offended pupil is dismissed in North Kazakhstan. The next article, the teacher who sold drugs in Taraz school is detained. These are real newspapers. And this is the newspaper that you saw. The teacher who marked 2 is a failing grade in Central Asia. The teacher who marked T in the forehead of the pupil is judged. It's 2014. So this is the article. Now, be honest, please. What do you think of these articles now? Why all of them are negative? Why teacher is bad all the time in the newspaper and mass media? Why don't we have good stories about teachers? Anyone? Please tell me.
Maybe there is a actual problem between teachers and the students or some misunderstanding.
Yes, Gulala, but there are so many excellent teachers who are doing excellent work every day, but we don't write about them in the newspaper. In Russian, there is a term called «Волка кормят ноги», а журналиста кормят его статьи. I think it is the journalists who write about teachers' sensational news. If they write that some teacher helped his student and he was traveling 5 kilometers, our societies will not read it. Кому будет интересно? И поэтому, какой вывод делаем, уважаемые? What kind of conclusion do we make, dear colleagues? Teachers' job is often portrayed very negatively in the mass media and newspapers. And it is our job to portray also positive things about our teachers. Let me show a few, couple of ideas. Let's see.
Yeah, Professor, I'm right now with my colleague and we're both listening to you, and one of my colleagues would like to share his thoughts right now.
Okay,
yeah,
no problem. We are hearing, we are listening to you.
Yes.
I think that it's an effect of the policy of the government, because of if we consider the repression at USSR, our intelligence are killed by governments because of they can propaganda our people to the intelligent
You're right.
members of our society.
You are right. I think intelligentsia suffered a lot during Soviet Union, but even now, unfortunately, teachers are often portrayed in the newspaper very negatively. Not only newspaper, in the popular culture. This is from KVN, our international colleagues. KVN is a popular Russian program, which is a fun and jokes. They make a lot of jokes. It's one of the very popular programs. This is, I don't know, this is the character. This is a man playing the role of a female teacher. But of course, in this movie, she acts very illicit, very bad behaviors because of her low salary. Does anyone recognize? Does anyone know which team is this from? This is my favorite team. No, yet. This is Kamizyaki. This is one of my favorites. This is another one. This is from Kyrgyzstan. A very good movie which was done about Kokgoru in Kazakh Kokpar. But it's a very nice movie. Again, in this movie, this teacher is kind of a half crazy person who is a physical training teacher, and he is teaching physics because of lack of teachers and etc. So this is how society views and portrays teachers. And this is in Russian society. In Russia, there is a movie called Uchilka. My idea is very good, but there is a lot of violence in this movie also. The students really misbehave, and there is a lot of violence in this movie. This is how we are looking at how society is really looking at the role of a teacher in former Soviet Union, particularly in Kyrgyzstan. Now, let me come back. Few ideas. Dear colleagues, there are 3 things I want to cover. Now, there are some myths about teaching in Central Asia and internationally. And I see some students are joining, some of participants are joining from, I don't know, Pakistan, other countries. And I was in Pakistan, I worked in Pakistan. It's the same there also. Number one, I already mentioned, many people think that teachers don't work hard, but they are mistaken, they're wrong. Number two, they think that teacher preparation is not necessary. Anyone can teach. You don't need teacher preparation because you just go to classroom and start teaching. No, teaching is a skill. You need to have skills to teach. And that relates number 3, anyone can teach. And please have a look at this information that I got from internet. Please read this internet news. Why? This is our profession. Teaching is our profession. But so many people in our societies think that they know about our job. Why? Read this, please. Almost everyone has opinion about school. Everyone has opinion about teaching. Everyone has opinion about teachers. And they write in Facebook, they write in Instagram about teachers. This is why? Because people themselves went to school and they saw teaching and they start comparing. They start acting like experts. But look at this, please. Thinking that you know how to teach kindergarten because you were once a kindergartner is like thinking that you can direct a movie because once you watched Star Wars. So, which means that teaching is really a skill. It's not something that you can easily do without preparation. Now, let me move quickly because, dear colleagues, and I am mindful of my time. And I want to give some time for you to ask me questions. This is, I will be skipping. If there is a time, I will come back because in Central Asia, not only Central Asia, in South Asia, internationally, teaching has been in crisis for many reasons. Why? Because of the competition and free market economy, which is putting a lot of schools under the competition because of ranking, this standardized testing, examinations and schools are competing against each other, because the governments want the best top schools and they want just to compete them against each other. And as a result, this standardized testing has really influenced teaching very negatively. Sometimes, very often, teachers want their students to perform well in the standardized testing at the cost of enjoying their learning. Well, what are the results? What are the consequences? Have a look at this, dear colleagues. One of them is that, of course, parents are now choosing the schools for their kids. Parents don't want to choose bad school for their kid. This is natural. But because of this ranking, now parents are choosing the better schools for their children, and those poor performing schools are suffering because there is a division. As a result, there is a division among the parents who are well-to-do families, wealthy families, and poorer families. Because of that, their children are not going to the same type of school. And then, of course, test results are improving slowly, but reading for pleasure is falling. School dropout is increasing, and more importantly, teachers' creativity is going. Teachers are not working very creatively, rather than they want their students to perform well in the test. So there are many other issues. I think I will be going forward now. Andy Hargreaves was my professor in Canada when I was there, and I think I like to quote him. Please have a look at his quotation. "The quality and moral of the teacher absolutely central to the well-being of students and their learning." So we need to have really high moral of the teachers, high quality of teachers, because that will make impact on the students' learning. And I will come back to that in a while. Now, dear international students, and even students from outside Kazakhstan, I see my colleagues from Kyrgyzstan also. In Kazakhstan, there was a very good initiative at the end of 2019. And a lot of work, and I was part of the discussions. And in early 2020, in January of 2020, a law was adopted. What kind of law? That law was on teacher status. In Russian, it is not teachers, it's more like inclusive, it's pedagogues, because it includes more number of people. Закон статуса педагога or status pedagogue in Russian. So it was approved in January, and it applies to people from teachers from preschool, secondary school, and even vocational technical school, specialized school, educators from orphan children. It doesn't include teachers from universities, but you can see it's a wide range of people this law is covering. And there were a lot of meetings in different cities of Kazakhstan, and including Nazarbayev University. Here, I ask for forgiveness from my international colleagues. If anyone can help me to translate in the chat, please. This is the example. When we were working on the drafts, there were a lot of debates. We had debates because there were people from trade union, there were people from Nazarbayev intellectual schools, there were teachers from public schools, private schools. All of us wanted to contribute to this law. But this law, particularly this article on the law, we had a lot of debates. And I was one of the people who was strongly against this a lot of ideas. Now, those Russian-speaking colleagues, can you find out which points you don't like? And I will see if I agree with you, because some of them I didn't like, and I said, no, it should not go to the law on status of the teacher. Can you read of any of them, please? Which one you think that it's not really helpful? Remember, this is a law of the status of the teacher. And if anyone can help, maybe Begzat, please, or Nurbek, could you help to translate some of them into English so that our international colleagues also benefit from some of them? Whichever one you like, please.
Dear sir, I want to share something. Are you listening me? I am Dr. Kesar Bas from Pakistan.
Yes.
I want to share that a teacher must play his role to teach their student like to teach her own children.
Very
The
good.
main responsibility of a teacher is to train the student like he and she is going to train his own children.
Very
So
good.
that
Very good.
that
Very good.
I believe at this type of teaching. So I wish all teachers should follow this rule to train their students everywhere. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. लेकिन मेरा साथ एक सवाल है डॉक्टर साहब,
जी सर प्लीज.
अगर तो आपकी बच्चों को आपके मामला बहुत बेहतरीन नहीं, क्या कर सकता है?
Excuse me, can you repeat again in Urdu?
आपकी मामला आपकी बेहतरीन नहीं है, आपके बच्चों के साथ आप बहुत बीटिंग करते हैं, आप चीज करते हैं, तो क्या फायदा इससे?
I think ये बच्चों को बीट करना it is a curse. I think it is a big crime. Okay. Even in our Islamic point of views, our holy book of Quran says don't beat your children at any cost.
Okay. Thank you. I got your point. Thank you. Now, if we come back to this ethics, let's continue. And maybe after 10 minutes, we will open the discussion. Now, let me finish my slides. And I think here, Mr. Zaukar writes point 4.1. What is it? Can you tell about it? Why you don't like it? Why you don't like 4.1? Maybe if the person is not here, let me tell which one I didn't like it. This is in red. I think this kind of wording should not go to the law on the status of the teacher. But you know, why? This is really, in English, it is a teacher should not be engaged in the financial fraud and also in bribery. This is really say that teachers should be free from bribery and fraud while working with the students in school. And I think this is I don't like it to go to the status of the teacher. You know why, colleagues? Because this is a state, we want to raise the status of the teacher. But now with this article, we are saying that teachers are very bad guys. They can be very greedy. Sometimes they can really do a lot of bribery. There is a presumption of innocence. Надо доверять. We need to trust teachers. Therefore, wording should be different. Otherwise, this is really controlling the teachers. How can you make a law to raise the level, but also control them? I have a dissonance there. Let's move on. I think, and also I will be skipping this. Maybe I will just go to one of the final points. Dear colleagues, now, everywhere in the world, that was in Kazakhstan, teachers' law status is adopted, and I think I didn't mention that it is very good. It is increasing the salary of the teachers. Of course, it has some flaws, it has some mistakes, but I think what is good that Kazakhstan is trying to improve this teachers' law, which is going to support. One of the things why this law was created, because wherever there is a big guy comes from the capital city to the village school, or even the town school, teachers drop their classes and they have to make a crowd to meet that big guy. But I think we need to make it clear that teacher's class is the saint. No one can violate the teacher's class. We should not just go to make a big crowd in the public square because some big guy is coming from Almaty or Astana or Bishkek or Dushanbe or Islamabad. This is the point that we need to make. Teachers should not be just stopping their class and running to organize these events. And this law should protect it. Well, now let's talk about international context. International context, I am so happy that there is a guy originally from India who is living now in Dubai, and he's organizing this Global Teacher Award. Can anyone tell me, please, does anyone know about what this kind of award is? What kind of competition it is? Who knows it? Either say it to me or write it to me, please. Write it. Who knows about this competition?
Okay,
Yeah?
me. Yeah, Tesla. So I think it's a annually organized event
Yeah.
which has a $1 million of what's called reward.
Yeah.
And the main goal is to appraise the teachers' work, teachers.
Yeah. The main goal is to acknowledge that
Acknowledge,
teachers are doing a
yes.
good job.
Yes.
To give them some pride that you are doing a good job, really, to make them proud that teaching is not a bad profession, to acknowledge. And that Sunni Varki is an Indian like resident of Dubai. He's a billionaire maybe, but unlike many other billionaires, he invests his money on schools and teachers, and that's why I love this is his ideas. Global Teacher Prize. If anyone doesn't know, please get to know about it more, because what makes me sad is that no one from Central Asia so far, I think, no, I'm sorry, I am wrong. This year, a person from Kazakhstan was among top 50, but we want not top 50, top 10, maybe even we win the competition. So one day, maybe if someone wins from Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, I think we will be celebrating, because it's a great accomplishment. Now let's move forward. This is the guy from Kenya, from a far remote area of Kenya. He won the award in 2019, I think. I'll talk about it. So this is the purpose of this competition. And why teachers? I think I will not read it, because basically teaching is really such a profession that everyone goes through teaching. Like every person is taught by a teacher, and that we know. And the Varki Foundation says that every student deserves a good teacher. Every student deserves a good teacher. Imagine if somebody in the village school doesn't get a good teacher, then it is really pity, and governments should think about it. We need to develop policies so that everyone should get a good teacher. Well, and Tesla or Nurbek, thank you very much. Yes, this is a prestigious competition. The winner gets $1 million. I don't know, Gulela and my friend Berdak, what are you going to do if you win $1 million? Maybe share some of them with me. So the winner they do whatever they want. $1 million they win. But let me show some of the things that dear colleagues here. I think some people are still coming. They are late, but let them join us. This is a competition different from our former Soviet Union competitions. The criteria is different. And I don't know in India and Pakistan, but in Soviet Union competition is there is a lot of formality. And you need to collect a lot of papers. You need to conduct this like open lesson, demo lesson, and there is a lot of bribery there. And that's the competition. The best teacher nationally or regionally in Central Asia is not good. But this competition is very transparent and fair. Let me share the criteria, and you will see that criteria is different from the local competitions. Number one, the teacher should be, of course, and this is similar to our teachers, the teacher should be employing effective teaching strategies that other teachers in other countries can use. Good teaching strategies, that's clear. Otherwise, a teacher is not a teacher if they are not using effective teaching practices. Number two, they are also using instructional practices that are solving the local problems, the problems in the village, helping the children and their families to address the issues. For example, if there is a lack of water in the village, this teacher is teaching about science, and the parents together with their children are learning how to grow cotton or potato without a lot of water, for example. So this is really combining teaching with the local issues. Number three, they also look if any teacher is making any progress in the learning outcomes that's demonstrable. So there's a visible influence on the students' learning. Number four, there is also, this is crucial in Central Asia, dear colleagues. Are they helping the students to become global citizens? Or are they helping only to become ethno-chauvinists? That's the difference between them, right? After the breakup of Soviet Union, all Central Asian countries started searching for their national legacy, their path, their identity, who was the most ancient nation, who had, I don't know, Tamerlan, who had what, etc., etc. Every nation claimed to be the best, who was the ancient. But yes, but how is it really helping us Central Asians or even South Asians to be in peace with each other, to live in peace with each other? So in a way, your own patriotic education should not hinder the global citizenship. So, or even in the community, are you helping two religious groups in the community or ethnic groups in the community to love each other or to hate each other? What is the teacher's role? If anyone is really making influence, this is a criteria also.
Есть ли мир людьми? Can you hear the professor?
No.
Yeah, there is
No.
some
Yeah.
internet connection problems.
Okay.
Professor Duishonkul, we can't hear you. We can't see you. Okay, I think he left and he will join us again.
Speaking too much, maybe I will finish soon, dear colleagues. I think, well, the most interesting part this guy, he's a great teacher. He's a teacher from Kenya, far remote area from Kenya. He won the award in 2019. And you see, maybe I will skip it because he really helped his community. There were two tribes, and he helped the two tribes through their children to come together and also to think about their well-being because he's a science teacher. He helped them to get a better harvest. But now I have a challenge for you. Sorry, this is 2020. 2 years ago, this nice-looking Indian guy, he won the award. Desaye, Ranjit Singh Desalle. He won the award, but now I have a question for you. He is a teacher who promotes girls' education in India. Now, who can tell me about girls' education in India? Maybe my Pakistani friends can tell because they know a lot about India. What is the state of girls' education in rural areas of India? Who knows it? Does anyone have any idea? Especially far remote areas of India, what is the state of girls' education and why?
May I say the word?
Yeah, please.
Hello, my name is Shahzada, and as far as I know about education in rurals of India, it is in a very poor state. And if we speak about girls, as far as I know, I assume that girls, they marry too young, probably 12, 13 years old. And the girls' rights in India, it's very, I don't know, I think it's in bad condition. So most of the girls, they don't get proper education and they don't get the opportunities that boys get in their lives. So I think that the education in India, it's very important. Yeah, for girls, I mean.
Thank you very much. Yes, I fully agree with you. Don't get me wrong. There are some excellent, especially in IT. India is one of the leading countries nowadays. IT, but in rural areas, girls' education is not one of the best, unfortunately. And one of them is that cultural, there is a connotation for that. And one of them is that if the family is very poor and if they have a lot of daughters, it is very difficult for them to marry their children, their daughters, because I don't know, in Central Asia, it is the boys' side pays kalam, I don't know, how do you call it in Karakalpakstan?
Kalam, yes, it's the same, yes.
Yes, but in India, it is dowry, opposite, it is from the girl's side. And I think you saw in the movies, Indian movies, if the father is very poor and has a lot of daughters, it's very difficult for them to marry their daughters, unfortunately. And I often ask the questions, if you have a daughter and son, and dear colleagues, I want all of you to have a lot of money, and I want you to be able to send your children to school. Just imagine, can you answer to me a question? If you have, let's an imaginary situation, if you have not a lot of money, just in case, and you have money only for one of your kids, one of them is a daughter, one of them is a son, choose whom you will send to university, daughter or son, and why? Who can explain to me?
It's a very hard decision because for a mom especially, because as you know, mom is the closest person to the children. Maybe better to split the money and send them to a not so even a good school, but still in order not to divide both of the kids.
That's very good. I think you found a very good solution. Imagine you got a scholarship, and scholarship should be given to one of them, daughter or son. Chinara Jembekova, my student, please help me. Whom you are going to send, son or daughter, and why?
So really difficult question, because being the Central Asian woman, and especially mother or daughter and wife from Osh Oblast, of course, the first idea which comes to my mind is giving that money to my son with the hope that my son will help my daughter to get education.
Okay, I think you are finding solutions, but now what I want to make is sure that if there is a case situation in the villages of India, unfortunately, the son goes to school. Unfortunately to me, daughter doesn't go to school because she gets married and becomes someone's family. But I know in Kazakhstan, I would think even in Uzbekistan, Karakalpakstan, or Kazakhstan, we never save money from our daughters. And now the question is, why we don't save money from our daughters, and we want them to get educated, even if we know that they become family member, they get married after 20 or 18, and they become members of the family. Gulfarida, maybe you will have children in the future, or your children will grow. So why would you waste, or not waste, why would you spend your money for your daughter also? Because daughter will become family member of someone else. Guliala, I'll come to you after that.
To be honest, my answer to your previous question was this answer, spending my money to my daughter's education, but and I'm still in this position. I don't know why, but I think it's really important to educate girls, because I think male part, I think they have this character to I don't know, I don't know this character, but it is really important to pay attention to girls' self-esteem, because really high quality education helps to raise their self-esteem, to find their places, to find their right place on in the society. So I think from these parts, I really agree that girls should be also well educated.
Thank you, Gulfarida. Now I will ask in this order, Guliala, Dr. Kaysar Abbas, and then Jamal. But before that, can I request others to do a Google check, Wikipedia check, and find out what Mahatma Gandhi said about giving education to daughters and the children and the boys?
I can tell it now.
Okay.
Yes, I know Mahatma Gandhi. Yes.
Let others find it, please.
All right.
Can I try, please? I'm not the student of Nazarbayev University. I'm applying, but can I try, I guess? I think it was his words that when we withhold girls from getting the education, we withhold half of the nation from, I don't know, from moving forward, right?
Maybe, but this is a home task for you before you come to Nazarbayev University. Why don't you Wikipedia search for Wikipedia and find out what he said?
Okay.
Guliala, please. Guliala, your position.
I also actually I changed my mind, rather than, of course, it's a very hard decision, but maybe we should support as Central Asian mom, as a Central Asian sister, for someone. I have the opinion of maybe sending the girls, because in our culture in India or other countries also where developing countries, we need to support more our daughters, more our sisters, rather than, because boys in nature, they're already leaders. They're more predominating, how do you say, population is in the earth. But we should support, and they can always find the way with physical work or other, they can find their way. But the girls are more, how do you say, they need more support, I think.
Thank you, Gulana. And
Can
now,
I
Dr.
can I add something here?
Who is this?
It's me, Gulfarida. Yes, Gulala. I think you've mentioned really good. Yes, it is more context dependent. For example, in Kazakhstan, not only in Kazakhstan, but maybe in other Central Asian countries and in other countries even before this, and I mean in past time, girls were not allowed to study, or women were not allowed to attend some schools or other things, while male part of society, they were allowed to educate, and people paid attention to this. And now we should fill this gap, fill this empty gap, and maybe it is now important to pay attention girls' education too.
Thank you, Dr. Kaysar Abbas. Do you still have idea to share with us?
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much for giving me time. I want to share one very important thing that everyone knows, that if you are going to educate a boy, you can educate a single individual. But if you are going to educate a girl, you are going to educate a community. So
Yes.
I have conducted a study on causes of low literacy on girls' education in the context of Pakistan, and I have shared the article of my link in chat group. I hope everyone can see my article. And in my article, I find that most of the females girls have to stay at home to care the ill family member also, and they have to help mother in domestic work. So that's why females are depriving in Central Asia, in Pakistan, as well as in India as well. So my point is, we must all have to educate the people living around us about the importance of girls' education, and educated women can handle his or children very effectively as compared to those ladies who are illiterate. So I think that female education should be more focused in every region of Central Asia. Thank you very much. I shared my article link in chat group. Everyone can see my article on low literacy, causes of low literacy on female education in Pakistan. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. I will also have a look at it. Well, let me share my idea. I agree with all of you, but I will also say personal idea about why I educate my kids, my daughter also. And this is common to all parents, all fathers like me, because, dear colleagues, why you want to educate your daughter? And I had a provocative question. Because they will become family member of another family, they will marry, but they will not stop being your daughter. They are still your daughters, and you want your kids, even if they are in another family, to be self-sufficient, to be respected. You don't want your daughter to be in someone's family doing all this hard work and not knowing her own place. You want your kid, your daughter, to be equal member of the new family. That's why you want to give that education, right? But now I want to finish my presentation by saying, well, this guy from India has been working on girls' education. He's a brilliant young guy from India. He is promoting girls' education in rural India. But now I have a question for you. Now, please write in the chat. He won $1 million, but he immediately announced that he is going to do something with this money. What is he going to do with this money? At least part of this money. Please, I give even hint. Can you tell me? Share. Okay. What else? What are the ideas? Well, Tesla, if you are attended my previous workshop, please, maybe others will try. Okay, what do you think he did with his money? $1 million. It will come to him, but he announced immediately. I admire it because maybe I will not be able to do the same way as he did. Well, let me read the answers. Create program for girls' education. He will do it anyway. Donate it on girls' education. Okay. For schools. Okay. Share. Chinara, I don't know with whom he shared. Open schools, kindergartens, hospitals. He will do it. But Tesla has written something earlier, because I think Tesla attended my workshop earlier. What did he do with this money? What do you think? And now, I will ask you whether you would do the same. Of course, everyone's personal decision. No guesses? Any guesses? Open a school, maybe marry daughters, establish scholarship for women, teach parents. No, dear colleagues, he did a simple thing. Where is it? He did a simple thing. He announced that half of them, there were 10 finalists. He was only one of them. He distributed half of the money among the 9 finalist teachers from all over the world. He just said, I don't want to get $1 million myself. These are excellent 9 teachers. I want to give half of them to them. Half of them I can use, $500 I can use. That was his decision. Well, I don't know anyone else can do it, but this was quite a honorable thing to do. But now let me finish by saying that this is guy with his family. Yes, dear teachers, dear colleagues, we need to raise the status of teachers and teaching internationally. But let me tell you, but we will not be able just to demand other people, societies to increase our teaching, our status. We need to do our job properly, number one. We need to be professionals. Please have a look at it. There is a difference between being a very poor teacher and a good teacher. If you are a good teacher, your students perform 4 times better than ordinary teachers. So it's up to you whether you want to be just ordinary teacher who comes and goes from class, or you want to be very effective teacher. It's really, even parents start respecting the effective teachers. Now have a look at it. If you move students from the teacher who is very mediocre to the class of the effective teacher, it is almost equal to almost reducing the class size by 10 students, as if there were 35 students and now it feels like 25 students, because this teacher is really able to pay individual attention to every student. And finally, a good teacher may also increase his students' test performance by 23%. Well, why am I concluding with this, dear colleagues? Yes, we always tell that parents are not respecting us, society is not respecting us, our salary is very low, no one is respecting us, journalists are writing very bad articles. But if we don't do our job properly, I think it's difficult to earn the respect. We need to be good teachers, and then I think our kids respect. When our kids respect, when our children respect, when our students respect, their parents start respecting. With this, dear colleagues, I will stop it here, and I will give floor back to Aidana. I don't know whether we still have time for questions, but Aidana, the floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Professor. I think I won't take much of the time. It was a brilliant presentation, and I think there are many participants that want to ask a question now, please use your chance. We can have like 10 minutes for the questions. The most we can do, you can ask it by using your audio or put it in the chat box.
Yeah.
May I ask you a question, please?
Yeah, please.
Thank you for your last idea that we need to work with teachers, that teachers should be very responsible for their jobs. But there is also another problem. Actually, there is two problems that I would like to ask you about. First is that I recently asked my little brother about how are your teaching, tell me about your teachers in your school. He's in the 7th grade. He said, we have teachers that if you don't understand something, they will not leave the class. They will not let others to leave the class until you understand this thing. So he makes sure that everyone understands the subject, right? But there are other teachers that if you don't understand something, they start to blame you. So I guess this is the problem of teachers' motivation, right? So what we need to do on the first thing. And the second question that I would like to ask, that there is another problem that we speak that in Kazakhstan, in the Ministry of Education, we speak about too much about teacher status, but we don't speak about the principals. The people who do this, who organize, who manage this work. And recently I was conducting the interview with the principal of one of the school in Karaganda, and he said that we have these special trainings before getting to the job. He was a young principal. Also, there was the principal of the former Kazakh Turkish Lyceum. Now it has the different name. He's also a young guy. I don't know, he is maybe 32, something like this. And he said that, yes, we have this special program before getting to the job that prepares us, but in fact, it doesn't handle its function. So when we go to the work, we can't deal with this amount of job. And we meet the reality, and the program that prepared us, it doesn't work. So we have the problem that the program that prepares the principals, it doesn't work. So what we need to do on this problem? So the first is motivation of the teachers, yes, and the principals.
Thank you. Two brilliant questions. Number one, I think that you are raising crucial issues. I think in the number one, the teachers should really take into consideration every student's learning. Unfortunately, many teachers only pay attention to the favorite students who are sitting in front, limited number of students, and they think about their well-being, about their learning. Other students are left behind. Even some teachers, even they may not even know their first names and last names. And I think, but partly these teachers are not guilty, because pre-service teacher education in Central Asia did not change since the breakup of Soviet Union. There were no reforms. In Kazakhstan, there was a reform with a school system. There was a reform with Orleo, but pedagogical universities didn't change much, because for some reason it didn't deserve a lot of attention. Only now they started paying attention to it. We need to prepare teachers very well and one of the ideas, I think these teachers should be equipped with the latest ideas of teaching, particularly how to take into consideration individual learning styles, differentiated instruction. For example, I really liked when I went to Nurorda, there was a empty table, and I asked, what is this? Why this table is empty? And they explained to me, this table, any student can come to sit if they don't understand anything in the class, and teacher can come and explain to them. And that table, sometimes students don't tell to teachers that they didn't understand, because they don't want to feel bad, because teacher will say, what kind of crazy student you are, you don't know anything. So there is a lot of stigma. But Nurorda, they made a table, anyone can go, and a teacher can come and explain, which is a great sign. But regarding the principals, I think this is a very important area. In former Soviet Union, in Central Asia, school administrators and principals are not prepared properly. There is no proper training. As a result, you are just appointed and you start learning how to work as principal. And number two, principals should have also enough incentive to work as principals. They should have autonomy. For example, how to give incentives to the teachers who are working very well. Otherwise, there is a lot of things that principals cannot do. As a result, and their salary is not also very good. As a result, sometimes even somebody, if you say a teacher, do you want to work as a principal? They say, no. There's a lot of work. I just want to teach. So these are the issues they need to be addressed at the policy level. But brilliant questions. And thank you. And your kid is there. Thank you for attending the session. Any more? Do we still have time?
One thing I want to share, sir. One thing. When a person gets a job of teacher, I observe that he or she leave to study more for their professional development and teaching method and how to make a change through teaching in student. So Maya Angelou, one psychologist of USA, Maya Angelou said, when you know better, you can do better. So first, when you know better, you can do better. First, being a teacher, we have to get knowledge about the innovative teaching methods and assessment method. Then we can apply these innovation in our teaching to teach students to make a change.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. My final point will be, my colleagues, very important that teachers retain their autonomy, their creativity. Very often, because of top-down reforms, there are so many reforms, teachers are just implementers of the reforms that somebody else develops for them. As a result, teachers pretend that they understand the reforms, and they often also start losing their creativity. When teachers start losing creativity, I don't think there is anything worse than that. When teachers want somebody else to tell them what to do, that's not a good sign. We need to give the autonomy to teachers that they are professionals, they know something. We need to consider even village teacher knows something. We need to respect what they know. Otherwise, we often think that from the point of the deficit, these teachers don't know anything and we need to tell them, we need to teach them. Some kind of expert sitting in the capital city, pretending that he is the smartest and he wants to share his wisdom with anyone, any teacher, without asking them what they know. That's when teachers lose their creativity. Dear colleagues, I know it's time. Let us give the hope and creativity to teachers that many of them do so many good things, but they don't acknowledge that it's a good thing because they often wait for someone from the top to tell them that they are doing a good job or not. That's what my main point is, that teachers need to have trust that they are doing a good job and we need to support them. Maybe, I don't know, we need to conclude, otherwise I think we will go on and on.
So this was a brilliant conversation. And as you know, if you go to the GEC website, you can find the professor's email and have a long run chats by emailing the professor. So we thank you everyone for coming to the webinar here. We will stop recording now and the recording will be